there may be a lot of their eggs in the beet sugar, and it looked like it finally had been, some of this had been proven, and interestingly, you know, controversial things disappear from the internet. Okay, so bear with me. You're almost at the end of the cutting edge part of Lyme disease and multisystemic infectious disease syndrome. In this Journal of Molecular Cell Research, they discovered that cytokinin, which is a plant hormone, and it's produced by the beet nematode. They discovered in 2015 that the beet nematode, this little worm, makes a plant hormone and changes how the plant grows and affects how the plant grows so that the nematode has a better environment to live in when it infects the plant. Okay, so they know the nematode makes cytokinin that changes how the plant cells grow. And then in 2003, they discovered that the plant hormone cytokinin changes the way that human cells, the HL60 cells that are used for cancer research, it induced differentiation in those cells. So this plant hormone that the parasitic worm makes, that's in all the sugar you eat in the non-organic products, that it looks like it, you know, survives the processing in the food plants, it changes human cells. There's evidence that the cytokinin from the nematode can change human cells. So, all right, hang on, it's not going forward. Okay, so then another catchphrase today is leaky gut, where the junctions in the small intestine are not as tight as they should be, and particles, including food particles, larger than would normally, that would not normally be allowed to enter the bloodstream. They enter the bloodstream, and you know, leaky gut is linked with food allergies, and Borrelia burgdorferi and many different pathogens can cause leaky gut and can damage the gut. Many medications, antibiotics cause leaky gut. And glyphosate, which is the Roundup pesticide, the #1 pesticide that's sprayed on wheat, it's been shown to severely damage the gut flora and cause chronic GI issues rooted in gut dysfunction. So basically, if you put this all together, that, you know, leaky gut is likely going on a little bit, you know, in many people in this room today, unless you eat a strictly all-organic diet and you avoid all pesticides and medications and you haven't had anything damage your gut. And if you consider that most people don't eat so much organic stuff and get a decent exposure to glyphosate and, you know, have taken medications during their lifetime, there's just a greater, I'm bringing up the question that this is part of the multisystemic infectious disease syndrome and increasing the parasite load on people. 93% of Americans tested in the US in 2015 have glyphosate in their urine, just on random testing. So, you know, and so if that's damaging the guts, and then sugar and GMO soy and the beets, if they really do have a lot of the nematode eggs in there, you know, what's that doing to our system? Is that part of MSIDS and part of why Lyme disease, when you get hit with that Borrelia bacteria, there are many things just kind of waiting to explode in the body and take opportunistic advantage. So this brings a close to the cutting edge theory and understanding of, in the most progressive understanding of MSIDS or Lyme disease, or really, I would add, in any chronic illness, parasites have a really important part. You know, even if you just consider the proven ones, the Demodex skin mites, those are the ones that we believe proliferated in our family, that were harboring Lyme bacteria in us. And, you know, when we did work to clear that up, that's when our health really went back to normal. So I was just going to I would do a disservice if I didn't touch on biofilm, especially when Dr. Eva Sappi in 2016 has just proved the presence of Borrelia biofilm in human infected skin tissues. Biofilm is tooth tartar. That's a biofilm. It's housing that's a matrix that's built by several different pathogens, and they live together in a community of stuff that can harden, be hard like tartar on your teeth. And if you hear, microbiologists talk about it, they'll tell you how the pathogens swap spit within that biofilm by horizontal transfer of genetic material, even between species of, so fungi might swap spit with bacteria, and things like this can go on in a biofilm. So they're just another, like a Ziploc bag, thing that prevents antibiotics from getting to a Borrelia infection, Borrelia bacteria, and affects chronic disease. Okay, so then with our family, wrapping up here with our families with some good news and hopeful news for Lyme disease and chronic disease. So after 4 years, we had really tried everything, and we really were with the doctors who were considered to be the top Lyme literate doctors, not even in America, but internationally. Dr. Richard Horowitz was invited by the government of India to go help them solve their malaria problem over there a few years ago. And he was one of our doctors, and we were doing rotating antibiotics, always trying to get off the antibiotics and substitute them for herbs, and doing supplements. And we got an infrared sauna installed in our house to do German method of fever therapy, where you kill pathogens. I used to get my temperature up to 103 degrees when I'd go in the sauna. And all those things did something, and we saw changes and differences. But I am ending tonight's lecture for the Rochester Committee for Scientific Information with something that is not scientific yet. It is a frontier yet to be proven by scientists, so if any of you are students out there and some of this interests you, what really cleared up our family and cured us of Lyme disease, and what I'm writing the book Limelight about, is called EM, stands for eminence, which actually means at a distance, because it is a type of energy work developed by Ethan Bohr, who is a local acupuncturist. And it's the energy work that cleared the parasites out of our bodies and really cured us of Lyme disease in 4 months, when we had tried everything for 4 years to get better. The first session with Ethan doing this energy work, and M stands for eminence because it actually works at a distance. It doesn't require acupuncture needles. It's similar to Qigong, energy medicine. And that really is another lecture, but I have to at least say how our family was cured. So it's this no-touch energy work based on traditional Chinese acupuncture and Qigong theory. And really, he could just sense the parasites and pathogens in our body and just tell them to get out of there. And if I hadn't lived it, I wouldn't have believed it. Our jaws were on the floor when he treated our oldest daughter for the first time, and she was on 3 antibiotics at the time he treated her, and couldn't be grocery shopping or on her legs for more than 20 minutes without begging to sit down because her legs hurt so much. And she had a wheelchair at school. Both our daughters had crutches on and off, so we just kind of kept the crutches at the house. But that was how she was with constant leg pain when Ethan worked on her the first time. And in 20 minutes, he stood next to her and he took away her leg pain. And so that's definitely, a frontier for science to explore how that worked. All of us had different symptoms. My biggest symptom for Lyme disease was memory. I couldn't go 12 hours without an antibiotic. By 12 hours, I stopped being able to form a thought in my head, complete a sentence in my head. And I really couldn't even conceive of going more than 24 hours without the antibiotic because the memory would get so bad. And, I find myself at a familiar intersection and have no idea where I was, right by our house on the way to Henrietta, the only road that I would take to Henrietta. And so memory problems were my main symptom. And Ethan just went through each of us and just cleared up what our symptoms were. And that is the reason I did not become a Lyme literate nurse practitioner. I almost did. I was on the road to do that, but ended up going into acupuncture because that's the theory of Chinese medicine that the energy work is based on that cured us. And it's what I specialize in now. And that's the end of the lecture. Thank you for coming tonight.